natural law. Somehow these Indians were placed in an incompetent class in which their lands and resources were held in trust by the conquered, those who were conquered. Stop here. And what came to me was our people were so ignorant of civilized law. They didn't know that after you defeat somebody, they didn't know that, you're supposed to, again, rape, kill, plunder, kill babies. They didn't know those civilized things, civilized ways. Our ancestors were stupid of that concept, I guess. Anyway, the same is true of his religion. And when a judge in a court case, People for the State of New York versus Boots, 1981, Judge Jan Plumidor. When a judge in that case made the statement in judgment to the case when he said, "You can't go to church on Sunday and be an Indian on Monday." And he's absolutely right. Because going to church on Sunday isn't even Christian. So that was a pretty smart judge. The judge was making reference like the Indians' land and resources which were being held in trust. So is his religion. You can't go and hold religious rituals in a building or church that is holding Indian religions in trust and still try to be an Indian legally. We can't leave out some of the writings of the book, Wars of the Lord. To begin, let's put out one spiritual fact known by every Bible scholar in the world. It was approved by the Truine Confederacy, Truine, Confederacy, which controls all the religions in the world. Ezra, who put together the civilized Septuagint Bible that now sits in a British museum, in his original translations, took the word Great Spirit and substituted the word Jehovah. Jehovih. Probably later changed to witness. Because there also sits another Septuagint Bible in the same British Museum taken from the Indian mounds in this country that is 2,000 years older than the civilized Septuagint. And this Indian Septuagint does not have this translation change. Indians become responsible for permitting this translation change to be taught because it deals with the Great Spirit. When Indians attend civilized churches which teaches the same translation change, then this church or its religion holds the Indians' religion in trust. Pretty simple, isn't it? If we take all the writings that are connected to the book Wars of the Lord, it shows that Osiris, brother and husband to Isis, the goddess, who started the religion that is shown as a picture on the Great Seal of the United States, along with his high priest, were the first to change the word or expression Great Spirit and substitute the words Lord God. We now know that Ezra changed some Lord gods to Jehovah. However, it was Osiris that made the original spiritual commandment forbidding followers and believers not to listen to any ancients on the Great Spirit or serpent. It is still followed today by all Christian religions. It was this religious commandment that was to assure followers would not be led away from the new Lord God. It was this new Lord God that passed judgment on Eve for listening to an ancient on the concept of the serpent. Genesis 3:13. It was the new Lord God that substituted the ritual for communicating with the Creator, Great Spirit, Great Serpent, by inspirations for its followers to breeze, thunder, music, flowers, scenery on the mountain where the Creator is. Don't stop yet, because how long civilized religions have been holding in trust ancient religions goes back before any civilized languages were ever thought of or created. They had to be holding ancient religions in trust so long, many of the original races no longer exist. They have substituted themselves as the keepers of the religion and practice the ancient ritual themselves. Any antiquist or anthropologist knows that the following pictograph taken from the ancients of Britain, or Pict, P-I-C-T, tribals, or hieroglyphic, Greek, meaning sacred carve, identifies any ancient. Two lines, the serpent of time people, how tribals were. Okay? The expression for it is Howse. This expression is universal in every known ancient language in the world. If one was to put one ancient word for every civilized word, it would mean time. So these treaties I'd introduced you to made you known to us as brothers and sisters. So he's speaking of a particular white man through time was a cannibal. And that's the one that was of the white race, not the white tribes. Because even in Dakota, when they say, and the old man taught me, he said, when we say, Wasisho, and he said, then there's the Wasishuna, which becomes an ally, because of the treaties we had with the white tribes of Europe, based upon Creator, Great Spirit's law. Through the daughters. The women. That's the difference. But even Osiris, who was classified as a god, could not overstep spiritual boundaries and had to add the following to his commandment. It is the choice of the individual to learn the differences to the voices between two different serpents. One, the ancient serpent who has a voice like the wind with the Great Spirit. Or, two, the God serpent who is the lawgiver of the word, who has a voice that kills, lusts, has treachery, poison words, and can create diseases that cannot heal, poison air, poison weeds, trees, and herbs, and poison snakes as punishment for violators of the word. Numbers 21:6. And the Lord sent fiery serpents among the people. Numbers 21:09. And Moses made a serpent of brass and put it upon a pole. It cannot be denied. One serpent on a pole was the flag of Mu. Or Pan, or Wauta, or whatever your professor called it. Two serpents on a pole was the flag of Atlantis. Now, there's the doctrine of Osiris. To accuse man or men of sinning as the keepers of the ancient serpent and the laws of the daughters of God, all future gods will be protected from the judgment of the Creator. But what are ancients, from what you have read so far, Who and what are they?